Hello, everybody out in podcast land, and welcome once again to Money Talks with
The Wealth Whisperer.
Really exciting today. I think you're all going to enjoy it. I've been doing what I do for well over 30 years now, and I always enjoy having discussions, sometimes banters, or just having fun and discussing different ways that one goes about producing wealth. And without question, one of the greatest wealth creators in this country has been real estate, owning land, owning structures. So what I did today is I brought in two people with lots of experience in many different facets of real estate investing. With me today is Amber Larkin from TAC Property Investment. Amber, welcome.
Thank you.
And also we have Charlie Saman from Saman Enterprises. Amber does business predominantly in the Southwest Ohio area. She's located directly in Hamilton, I believe, but you have properties throughout Cincinnati, Hamilton, even into the Dayton area, into Charlie's part of town.
Yes.
Any other states you deal in?
No. For
Okay.
good reason.
So you're staying local.
Yeah.
Charlie, if I'm not mistaken, the same thing?
Correct.
All right. How long have you been in business?
22 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We do this 22 years.
What brought you to the area? Because I'm not mistaken, you did your schooling, what, UK?
UK. Originally from Lexington, Kentucky.
All right.
Came from Lexington, moved here in 2002, and we opened up JD Legends. It was an entertainment complex, concert venue, volleyball, bowling.
Anybody watching from Dayton, Ohio, I know you've heard of JD Legends. You know, hearing about it was fantastic. My wife has, on more than one occasion, dragged me to JD Legends where I got to enjoy Bret Michaels concerts. And she got to meet, if anybody remembers, which not a lot will, the Rock of Love that was on TV for a few years, Big John. My wife got to meet Big John at JD Legends.
He's a great guy, too. Big John is a very,
Is he?
very nice guy.
Awesome.
He is.
All right. So your wife is from my stomping grounds. Yeah, I grew up in Massapequa, Long Island. Your wife is from Yonkers.
Sounds correct.
Okay. Yes, my mom's whole family is from the Bronx. Obviously very nearby. What brought her out here? You?
Me. Yeah.
You?
I told her Dayton, Ohio is just like New York City.
Okay. Of course. Yeah, JD Legends.
That's right.
Madison Square.
That's right.
I see the similarity.
Go.
Very, very cool. All right. Amber, when did you get started and what got you interested in real estate investing?
So technically I got started in 2011. That was whenever I bought my very first house. I had my first son and I just wanted a house to raise him in. Good. Yeah. I was just like a single mom and I was like, I need a neighborhood where they're going to know him.
Okay.
So I bought a foreclosure, lost years off my life, that house, but it achieved the goal. And then whenever I got married and I ended up having more kids, I ended up holding on to that house because at that point I paid the asset off and we bought a larger home. And then I was pregnant with my third child and she was a daughter. And I was like, I make enough money working in corporate world to pay things, but I want to set them up with more success. Okay. And so I had already kept my 2011 asset as a rental, and that's all I was doing. But then I leveraged it to then have the money to invest in my first flip property.
Okay.
That then I built more capital and continued to build. And then I started buying rentals.
All right, Amber, we're going to stay with you because I know how diversified your business is. And you just talked about how you started. You must have experienced some growing pains. And so I think people love to hear stories of, you know, what's gotten you here today is often going to be the lessons that we've learned along the way. What were some of your growing pains that you experienced and what has it done to make you, your business and you, who you are today?
My biggest lesson, honestly, is you're only as good as your team. On my very first flip, I did all of my due diligence and I interviewed probably 40 contractors.
Okay.
Of 40 contractors, only 3 gave me an actual quote and only 1 followed up.
Okay.
1. That's insanity. And he immediately, whenever he followed up, was like, hey, what did you think about my price? Was it bad? Like, where are you at? And I was like, would you like to start? He was like, yeah. Where I was like, you got the job. You're the only one who even checked in.
Yep.
And he wasn't the cheapest by any means. He wasn't the most expensive, but he was very middle of the road.
And I bet it wasn't because he had more free time than everybody else. He was just probably much more organized than everybody else.
Yep. And I'm like, if I can't trust you to answer my phone call and even follow up with the simple thing of, hey, where you at? What'd you think of, to even give me a price? How am I going to trust you whenever everything's hitting the fan and everything that can go wrong is going wrong and you're going to leave me high and dry?
I'm sure it's an ever flow and a dynamic of defining your team.
Yep.
For the most part, do you get to a point where you're 80, 90%, you got your trades, you got your team, you got your lenders, you got your real estate relationships?
That's where I'm at now. But
Yeah.
if you're expanding, again, like even the growing pains within, he was such a great he's still with me today. He's my lead contractor. And as I've grown and grown my markets and what I'm doing, I was like, I need more. Could you expand?
Okay.
And get him to. And he had the same type of growing pains. He's trying to expand with people. And he's like, I couldn't babysit well enough. It's costing me more money because I'm having to run to 4 job sites
Tell me
now.
about it. When I started this business, it came from an executive corporate role. I was like, oh, great. I won't have to be babysitting people anymore. But as soon as you start growing, that's another whole podcast that we're not going to spend a lot of time on today. Charlie, growing pains. You've been doing this for over 20 years now. What were some of the things that you learned along the way to help you become what your business is?
Sure, absolutely. So just piggyback on what Amber said, building your team is very important. So that's always going to be a growing pain. So we went through a lot of trial and tribulations with growing the team, but that worked out. So now I've got quite a few members of the team who could take care of a lot of things. So it really helped out. Now, as far as getting started, when I first got started, I wanted to buy this house. It was a flip house, and it was my second house actually that I purchased. Went to all the banks. All the banks said no. So no one gave me a chance. And when I went to every bank around here, all the local banks, everyone said no.
Let me ask what year this was.
This was in 2004.
So this was even before.
Yeah.
This is when they were just giving money away hand over fist.
Yeah. So 2004. I went to, and then it was actually in Springville, Ohio, off Williams Rip Drive.
All right.
Yeah. And then, that's right. So, went to the banks. They all said no. I called up my local bank in Kentucky. And so he told me, he said, I'm going to give you one chance. I'm going to give you this money. If you mess this up, don't ever call me again for any help. Okay. So he gave me the money. There was a house across the street that was already for sale. I went in there. I called all my friends. My brother came up from Kentucky. That we did all the work ourselves. And one of my lead guys, who's my head guy right now, Don Gray, he was actually working for me for the time as well too. We did it all ourselves, and we ended up selling the property, took that money and then reinvested it directly into the properties.
Awesome.
But that was the financing was my biggest issue.
Okay.
Is understanding what underwriting's looking for, understanding what the actual numbers are in order to get a loan, to get property, to get, financed.
Okay. Because obviously when it comes to flipping houses, your biggest ability to make money is going to be if you're leveraging into the buy, because just the magnitude of, you appreciate $20,000. If you put all the money up and it's $200,000, you got a 10% return. But if you put up $25,000, you make a $20,000 gain. Yeah. Obviously 80% return on your money now. So along these lines, you both spoke a little to flipping houses. Amber, I know you're still a little bit more in. I know, Charlie, your business has gone sort of in a different direction. Back to the same theme of lessons learned. What area of real estate do you like the least and why? Based upon being exposed to it and whatever the nuances were that you ended up learning and saying, emotionally, I don't like this because of what I have to deal with, or financially, I'm not getting the return that maybe I thought I would get. Amber, you want to take this one?
Airbnbs or short-term rentals, furnished rentals, without a doubt.
Okay.
I got into them again because where I'm at, they put in that giant sporting complex and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you make so much money. And you make more money, but without a doubt, it is where I am pulled the most. It's where I have the most teams. People do not, in my mind, they're paying a lot of money to stay here for a night.
Yeah.
Of course, they're going to take care of my stuff. No, they're not. They are still going to destroy your things. And you are going to be replacing them. Then you're going to be fighting in insurance to reimburse you, who's going to deny you. And then those people that destroyed your house are going to leave you a bad review. before you do that, then Airbnb or the platform is going to drop you in the rankings that nobody sees you.
Mhm.
So yes, you make the most money, but it's too many factors that you have zero control over, and you're spending so much more.
Since many of our viewers are local, let's have some fun. What is this venue that has been built in Hamilton that you're speaking of?
Spooky Nook.
Good. Charlie, you stopped flipping houses.
Yeah, well, I usually do about one a year if I could. So, I mean, I don't do that much. So that's probably my least favorite is flipping houses.
Okay.
You know, it's I call it like drug money. You know, it's quick money. I get the money, but the problem is it's gone. Taxes, you know, it depends on, you know, unless you're 1030.
Can you 1031 it?
Yes, you can. So you could 1031 it. If you decide to do that, you know,
If you can, is what I'm saying.
if you can, if you find another property, whatever it takes, so the LA too. So those are my least favorite. You know, the money isn't, you know, short-term gains, so it's going to tack onto a tax, you know, bracket basis as far as taxes go. So it can eat you alive. Now it's very risky as well too. So the flips are, I mean, you can easily lose a lot of money very easily.
Mhm.
So if you don't negotiate the buying purchase,
Yep.
that's the number one thing is that buying price has to be negotiated to where there's a lot of opportunity to lose money. So there's a lot of, you know, fountain ball.
How about from an inspection standpoint? What do you do when you're going in to buy one of these potentially? When you think of flipping houses, you're generally not getting a 5-year house. You're getting a house that has an age to it and some potential problems.
Yeah.
How well can you vet it before the purchase to make sure that you don't go in and go, oh my God, I did not know that I'm going to have to replace all of X and all of Y, all of Z.
You have to be prepared for all of that.
Okay.
Because you're not going to get, you know, basically you're buying the property as is, where it is. So inspections are not going to work out, you know. So, you know, depending on who the person is selling property, whether it's an individual person, company, they want it quick, easy, cash, you know, out to do it.
Yep.
So you're not going to have an inspection period. Well, you'll have an inspection period, but they're not going to go fixing everything. Yeah, most parts. Now there are some cases that they do that, but
But it helps you walk away if you get any good inspection done.
yeah, absolutely.
And I assume in that, you know, this is not like an appraisal. You're having inspected by your person.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's going to be extremely important. If somebody wants to go into flipping houses, they better have a damn good inspector, or they better have that knowledge themselves.
Exactly.
Because I could see being a huge risk.
And that's a big risk. Like I said, you know, with flips, you know, there's a big opportunity to lose.
Yep.
So it's very dangerous, very cautious.
Counterpoint. All right, Amber, why do you like flipping houses? Let's have some fun.
So for me,
Yeah.
flipping houses, I don't even do an inspection. I am buying them right from the get-go.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's bad. And because it always hits, like it is always bad. I am buying them at such a low point. There's zero time for inspection because whenever I walk in, I can be on my phone offering the money as I'm walking out the doors. Otherwise,
Sound like Charlie was in. Yeah.
there's 3 more people behind me ready to jump right in. And I need to sell myself and my story and want the quickest and most possible. And kind of the difference that I do is most of the stuff, the way that I invest is there's no one single strategy. I'm diversified that I'm like, I go in planning, I'm going to flip this. But if I can't, I can turn this into
Can I rent it?
something else
Mhm.
and it's still going to be okay.
Okay.
I don't like, the only one that I have is the one that I told you about that currently hasn't sold yet.
Yeah.
Is like the big 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom. I would never rent that. It's too much that people can destroy, too much that people can break. If it doesn't sell, it's just not going to sell and it's going to sit there empty. But that's the only one I've done like that. Everything else that I bought and flipped could have easily been a rental for me if it didn't sell.
And like Amber said, I think one way to look at it, if you're going to flip, you need to be prepared to do, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you have to do it or not, you never know what you're going to find out. So be prepared for the worst case scenario.
Okay. Next question. Anyone who knows me, I believe deeply in diversification. And any investment needs to include not just opportunity, but how to mitigate risk. In my world, I can compare stocks to bonds to private investments to other alternatives, etc., inclusive of real estate investing. Fun question for the audience, then, for me to ask. Can you talk openly about comparing and contrasting some of the different things that you either do now or have done over time? It's just to build upon the last question. It's saying, here are some other things that we've not spoken to, before. Amber spoke to Airbnbs. And Charlie, I'd like you to take this one initially and talk a little bit about where the types of things that you've been building of late. Are you selling them? What are you doing with the properties? You have a pretty focused business, is my understanding now. So if you talk a little bit about what you've done and why you've liked it.
Sure, absolutely. So I just purchased properties. I renovate them, fix them up.
When you say properties, you're pretty specific in the type of properties. You're looking at multi-home. Does that sound right?
Like family dwelling,
Okay.
just apartment complexes or apartment buildings, mostly anywhere from fourplexes to 20, 30 units.
Okay.
So but I like apartments mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone needs a place to live. We go in there, we fix them up real nice, we buy them cheap. We'll make sure that everything is, perfect when the person walks in to rent them out. We raise the rent roll, very important. You buy a property very low, you raise the rent roll. It shows better with the bank.
Okay.
Go in afterwards, refinance the property, pull your cash out, do it all over again. Once you pull your cash out on that property, it's tax free. So you can actually use that money now to purchase on the property. So very important as far as that aspect of it. So
Okay.
that's one of my favorites with multifamily dwelling.
Yeah.
Now I also have a management company that I manage on my own properties as well too. I have different teams that take care of all the properties, in that whole area as well too. And then we started a new division of new build as well too. So we do we do interior trim, we do drywall, paint. We're working for the development more things on that as well too. So all siding, we do a little bit of everything as well too. So I try to diversify my company to multiple avenues.
Okay. You just brought up something that I'm going to shelve a little bit, but we're going to come back to, and that is the diversification aspect, but not just so much that, but in terms of how do you make money in real estate? How much can you take upon yourselves and how much could you farm out to others in the sharing of the revenue to others? But back to what we're speaking to here, long-term rentals, Amber, do you have many and what's your experience with them?
So I have 50 and they are okay. Yeah. They are all single family homes.
Single family?
Yeah. I did very early on from my flip property that I very first said, I bought a multifamily because everybody's like, that's where the wealth is.
Yeah.
Make no mistake. It was a cash cow. I made more money on that property than I did on any of it, but I was miserable. I was dealing with people and how people deal with each other. Mm-hmm. And even whenever I hired a very highly, they came very recommended property management team. Mm-hmm. Oh, here, let them do it. No, they nickel and dimed me, and then it ate into my profits. Somebody calls about a light bulb.
Every call there was
on
the clock.
$50 for the light bulb, and then they're charging me $150 for the service call. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this isn't. Get me out of here.
Right into where I want to go in a little bit. Fantastic.
I'll get back to what she does. Yeah, labels too. So just to give you a little preface as far as what's happening in California and New York, you have got all these big investors coming in for buying all these properties like Amber's talking about. But what they're not,
the flagstones of the world.
Yeah. But what they're getting killed on is the property management. So the property management companies are the only ones making any money. So that's when you see 8, 9, 10 years ago when all, California was buying, all New York was buying, West Coast was buying here in Ohio. Now all those companies are starting to sell because they're getting eaten alive by these management companies. So just, take them to the thing.
Let's talk about my topic now then. Let's pull it off the shelf, bring it right to the point. So if you have someone out there listening today that has done more traditional investments and is like, you know what? I hear about all this money being made in real estate. I'm going to go buy myself a couple of single family homes and rent them out. What would each of you tell that person? And, what's the realization they're going to pull this off? And if they can pull it off, what are some of the things they're going to have to take into account in terms of what they can't farm out? Because if they farm it out, the money is gone.
So for me, I don't farm out anything really. Like, make no mistake. Like, I have my crews.
Yep.
But again, he started with me on my first flip. Now he works exclusively with me. He does all my maintenance calls. I've even now, quote unquote, partnered with him on things. So he gets money. He's invested. He's going to do what's best.
So to Charlie's point, you're the management company.
I'm the management.
Before you were the management company, making money was difficult, if not impossible.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I couldn't whenever I had one. Like I said, that multifamily, literally I was bringing in $10,000 a month after everything was paid. But then they were taking like half, and I'm like, this isn't worth it
Yeah.
for me.
You're putting in as much time
So I'm like,
than them.
nobody's going to care about your money more than you.
Yeah.
So and again, that's why I've now partnered with other people. And I say partner, like I said, it's my contractor. It's other people that I have close relationships with to make it also their money. So they're invested
Okay.
and they're not going. And eventually I would like to hire my own property manager that I train,
Okay.
that I can give them an incentive that it's their money too, so that they'll do the best, because hiring anybody else who's just on my payroll it doesn't work.
Okay.
If you plan on buying 1 or 2 houses and you want to hire a realtor, you want to hire an office, you want to hire your property manager, you want to hire everything out, you might as well just don't even think about it. Because it doesn't work that way. You have to actually do the work, because it's like Amber's talking about. You've got to get out there, you have to do the work, you have to build yourself to where you can scale. It's all about scaling in real estate.
Yep.
So once you're able to buy as many properties that will allow you to be able to hire out the management company, at that point it would be a little bit different. But when you're going to start in real estate, you need to actually get your feet wet, do it yourself.
Yep, because even if you hire a realtor to even lease out one of your properties, they are taking a full month
Oh, absolutely.
right off the top. So you're already down one pay. And then, like I said, then anything that goes wrong, you're then paying to fix, and your money's gone. Anything that you made can be gone within the first.
It's not just what I do for a living, but it is who I am. So anytime anybody comes to me on real estate and said, okay, let's break out the calculator. All right. Let's break out how much is your down payment going to be? What is your purchase price that you're going to be looking at? What do you intend to be able to sell it on? Or if not sell it on, what will you be taking in the form of ongoing income? Now let's talk to the expense side of the ledger. Okay. Are you going to act as your own real estate agent? Are you going to act as your own bank? Are you going to act as your own prop? No, not great. Let's add those in. Well, let's try to see now what your IRR on an investment is. And as noted, all too often, it's going to be woefully short when you take into account, hey, look, I just made 7% per year. Well, how much time did you spend on it?
Exactly.
And like
Well, you made 7% a year and you spent 8 hours a week. Let's see what you made per hour. McDonald's would have been a better idea. Right?
well, and then like, how are they? Like, are they also buying like an older house? Like, so almost every house that I buy was in such horrible condition that I'm having to replace everything on the front, like new roof, new HVAC, new everything. So there's not that much left to go wrong. Those people that are like, oh, I'm going to buy a rental house. They're going in and buying something that looks fine.
Yep.
Not knowing all the rest of the undercover costs. So that then they're like, the AC breaks, this breaks, and it becomes a lot. Whenever you don't know what you're doing, it's a lot harder.
Okay. All right. I'm going to open a box here and let's see where it goes. I mentioned at the preface, probably before today, I know we definitely spoke for 2 seconds before, is the whole concept of whose money you're going to use. For flipping a house specifically, as I noted, if I'm putting up $200,000 rather than if I'm putting up $20,000, the difference in my return is going to be absolutely magnificent. But of course, my risk is going to be significantly greater at any time that leverage. So from the past to now, you guys probably do things very differently than you did back when you didn't have money, and now you actually do have money. If you willing to speak a little bit about how it is that you fund your properties, and how it's different than the average person who just buys a house. Charlie, I'll start you on this one.
Yeah. So, I'm self-syndicated, so I don't take anyone else's money. So I basically leverage my properties. So I'm able to, at that point, take money from properties if I want to, refinance the properties.
Yep. So you're still leveraging almost all of your purchases.
Yes. So
it's not like you're not sitting like no debt at any time.
Right. Yeah. So I do have properties, obviously, that are paid off. So we have a lot of, equity. We are leveraged well. So now that's on one aspect, but now getting started, it's a different story. So different, whenever you get started, it's a different story. Obviously, you always want to use people's money if possible. So, there's opportunities. You could go to a local bank. I wouldn't recommend going to a PNC or a Fifth Third or
Chase is dying. They're not dying for the new house flipper.
You might as well not even get up to the couch. So, there are opportunities if you have good credit as well, too. You could go out to a local bank and get a, maybe a personal line of
course,
credit.
it's gonna be personal at that point.
Yeah. So I mean, again, you're gonna have to pay fees as well too, but you can do it with unsecured, non-recourse.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually go to the bank and offer based on
Non-recourse. Okay.
based on credit score as well too. So there are some local banks that would entertain that as well too. So that's one avenue. There's a lot of different ways to make money initially, so you can go to different companies and say, hey, there are companies that fund properties. There's the LTV, the loan to value.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So let's easy numbers. It's $100,000. It'll give you 70% loan to value. So if you negotiate the property on the 50,000 or 60,000, they would fund it. They'll take the first on the property, and then they'll fund it, and maybe even give you a little bit of money as well to do that as well too.
Okay.
It depends on the deal. So the number one thing is, how is a deal? So if it makes sense on a financial aspect, there are companies that will finance it as well too.
Okay.
So there's different ways of that. Wholesaling, I'm not a big fan of wholesaling. You can raise capital by wholesaling.
Tell me what you mean by that. I'm honestly going to admit ignorance.
Yeah, so wholesaling is one avenue of getting started, especially with basically it's like mini paper.
Okay.
So you take this property that's on Main Street here, and then you negotiate a deal with the current owner for $50,000. You sign a contract for $50,000. You're going to close in 30 days, 45 days, whatever the case is. So at that point, you're going to reach out to all these investors. You're going to call Amber, you're going to call Charlie, and say, hey, I have a property that I can sell you for $75,000. Okay, guess what? You just made $25,000 in 30 days.
Yeah.
So at that point, now it's very tricky because there's a lot of title work issues, with the closing on that property as well too.
Okay.
So it's very tricky when it comes to that, but it can definitely be done as well too. So there's some capital you can raise there. You utilize that money to buy other properties.
Amber, there was a day when you were green in real estate. How did you go about using leverage, and what is your experience been, and where are you today in terms of leveraging as you make new purchases?
Mine has come really far because, like I said, I took out a home equity line on that very first house that I bought, then got a flip, did that flip, got more capital, and I still have the equity line on that very first house that I bought. But my problem, I no longer work for corporate America. That's all I do. So 0 banks will fund me.
Yep.
I have amazing credit, over 800, but they're like, you don't bring it, because that's the other thing as a real estate investor. On paper, you never actually look like you make anything.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly taking all your profits and putting it back into something else. And it's just always going. So I fund a lot of mine through DSCR loans, which are, it's a loan. It's still a bank loan. It's still a 30-year mortgage, but it is based off the income that property is producing.
Okay.
But it's always, of course, there's an appraisal in it, and you're always way below value. It's like the highest is 80% that they're going to get back on that property. And then as I've continued to grow, I now, like I said, I partner with people like my contractor, where because he's also now growing with me, I'm like, hey, I have the money to buy the house. I'll have the money to pay you to fix the house. Why don't you? Do you have the money to fix the house? And he'll be like, yep, I do. And so then he'll fix it. And either A, we'll sell it and we do a profit split at the end. Or if we hold on to it, then we refinance it. He gets his money back. I got my money back. We may not have a huge profit, but now we have a rental property that then we have a bank account. The money then goes into the bank account. And so that's helped me to grow a lot, because now I'm not having to come up with as much money. I'm still not using a bank, because then you can also use hard money lenders, but there's a lot of fees associated with that. It's like the average is like 2 points and 12%.
Yeah.
That can eat in on my flips, for example. I like to make a 30% profit.
Okay.
You're losing 12%. So of your 30%, you're instantly down. You know what I mean? You're already down to 18.
It's very obvious from having this discussion that real estate investing is not for everybody. Because if I could give you a name, Amber, I'd call you Miss Trial and Error. All right. So obviously you've done everything, you've tried everything, and you learned from mistakes, and you've learned and embraced the things that have worked. So it's really exciting to hear somebody come so far, do so well, and, fight the uphill battle and the challenges that exist. Okay, we're going to get back to the property management. Another expense that makes a significant impact on one's return on investing is hiring or do-it-yourself from a property management perspective. The question that I originally had was what's your experience on the matter? We just already heard what your experiences were on the matter. So let me just throw out a hypothetical. All right, let's take a property. I don't care if it's 10 units or a singular unit, and it's $500,000. Okay. And I have no idea what that goes for. Let's just say it's $4,000 a month. I have no idea if I'm in the ballpark or not. So you're getting paid $4,000 on this $500,000 property, which is $48,000 a year. Doing it yourself, Amber. $500,000 is probably a decent property if it's one person living in it. How much work are you having to do? How often are you getting? Because you have single family rentals out there. How much of your time and how much of your money is going in on a monthly basis from a maintenance standpoint? What's an example? Obviously any month could be anything. Saying a normal year would look like such. I brought in my $48,000 in rental income, but here's how much money it cost me, in terms of time and money to support that $48,000 in income.
So like I said, mine's a little different though, because my houses are so bad at the front that I'm having to replace so much in the very beginning that there's not a lot that is going wrong. Where I lose the most money is me personally having to spend the time for the people who are paying. And getting them, and then if they don't, then evicting them and paying the lawyer to then go through the eviction process, and then I have to turn the unit over by paying the cleaner. But in my month to month, and because I do have my own team, if whenever they first move in, again, you don't know what's wrong because you never lived there. Even, the AC may not work right off, or the pipe may not have been bled or something like that, my contractor's not charging me to go out there and take care of those.
Okay, so that $48,000, if that was coming in a year, you had a property management firm, how much of that $48,000 would they be taking from you?
The cheapest is 10%.
Okay.
Then that's like the cheapest.
So $5,000 to $10,000.
And in my short-term rentals, so like my Airbnbs, it's like 26.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yep. So what you're saying is it could be my biggest money grab if I'm using property management, but it's not my biggest headache. So honestly, for so many reasons, I am and need to be my own property management. Obviously, you must have come to a similar conclusion.
Absolutely. So, as far as scaling, once you scale so much, you change your way you're looking at things. And that's what we decided to do is say, I'm spending so much time on, X, Y, and Z, the properties, where the case is. We need to focus on the management aspect of it. So we created the systems. We, we found the teams, and we basically manage all of our own properties. We're saving that 10, 12, 14% fee that, we wouldn't get charged from another company, and we're doing it ourselves. All
right. This has been great. If we have a few more minutes, I'd like to ask, enjoyment. What is the aspect of being a real estate investor that you've enjoyed the most? Besides it being another avenue of paying your own rent, paying for food on your family's table, where has it been the most self-actualization come out of the exercise?
So for me, my most enjoyable moments are taking a property, like Amber's talking about before, taking a property that's, it's run down, terrible, and we go in, we fix it all up, the crews come in there, and we just do before and after, and it's just fantastic. So no matter what location we're in, I don't care if we're in, Middletown, Dayton, Kettering, we fix a new property up to where you walk in there and it's absolutely gorgeous. So the before and after satisfaction of seeing that property come from what it used to be to what it is now, that right there is epic for me. I love it.
Awesome. And Amber, you?
Mine's a little different because, so as we all know, a lot of wealth is made. It's like 80% of the world's millionaires are made in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
Of that 80%, single digits are women.
Okay.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Okay. And so being able and make zero mistake. I have a tenant who will not talk to me because I'm a woman. would only call my maintenance, wouldn't talk to me. And I run into a lot of closed door politics, people that don't think that I know what I'm doing, that they'll talk to my contractor and he's like, you gotta talk to the boss. And they're like, you mean her? He's like, yep. And so being able to kind of pay my own way and show that I am more than capable and I've done it. My degree is not in real estate. It's not in finance. It's not in business. It is in health technology.
Okay.
I came from nowhere and being able to build it.
Maybe it would have helped if it was mental health technology. That would have helped your choice of work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, like I said, I'm like, it's been great that I've been able to not just take a seat at the table. I've been able to build my own table.
Okay.
And then also help other people succeed. Like I said, like my contractor, that one that started with me, he's still with me now. And he's not having to look and price jobs and do all that. He has comfortable, constant work. And then the subs and crews that he uses now have constant, consistent work because they're always working with me. I've been able to give back to the community.
Because of you, yeah.
Yeah, and give back to the community and show, like I said, my daughter and other women that have been able to mentor and help and do a lot in a space where there's not people like me in this space. I can walk into meetings in real estate investing, networking, and I will be the only woman there. And so I'm like, we're doing this.
Well, we appreciate you knocking down them doors.
Yeah.
All right, so let's finish up on something that people are always interested in talking about. And so we will prognosticate and discuss something that a lot of people have made a lot of money in real estate. And the concept that I speak about, what I do for a living is don't ever confuse a bull market for brains. Okay? So many people at different points, and unfortunately now is probably one of those points, fortunately or unfortunately, where I have people that want to talk to me about investing that clearly know absolutely nothing, but they think they're absolutely brilliant because they're making a lot of money. Why? Because the market, for the most part, has been going up almost every day and almost every year and over an extended period of time, people have got a quality return. The value of the homes the value of real estate doesn't. I can tell you, as you both know, Charlie, you experienced 2007, 8, 9, 10. And Amber, fortunately, when you came in, it's been more good years than bad. Is there money still to be made in real estate if the value of real estate is not going up?
So I'll tell you this, people ask me all the time, hey, is it a good time to buy real estate?
Yeah.
I always say the same thing, the best time to buy real estate is now.
Okay.
So buying real estate is always a good thing.
Yep.
Now, if you're looking to buy real estate for 2 years or whatever the case is, it might not be a great thing for you. Mm-hmm. So, but buying real estate to hold it, to create wealth and long term, yes, always a good time. So buy as much as you can. The goal is today is the best day to buy real estate.
Okay.
Don't wait to buy real estate. Don't do it all the time. Don't worry. It's, the word of the market, the rates, internet, whatever the case is, interest rates, it doesn't matter. Okay. Buy it right. It doesn't matter.
All right.
So buying real estate is always a good idea today.
Okay. Amber, your take.
Oh yeah. So I had a mentor. He started out as just my mentor and now he's actually my biggest business partner. He asked me to go with him and I do. And it's great. And he's been in the game for 28 years. And so he was in through 2008 whenever I was worried, like, oh my gosh, what happens if it crashes?
Yeah.
He was like, no, if you hold on to everything, even when everything crashed, if people could have held on to those properties, my very first foreclosure was from that crash that I got. If they could have held on, and now that property is worth 4 times more than what they, needed out of it at that time whenever it did crash. If you hold it long, it's going to go up because houses, they're not going down. The prices aren't going down. To build it isn't going down. The help to fix is not going down. Mm-hmm. So if you can just hold on and ride all your waves, long term, you're always going to make more money.
Okay. Well, let's talk about one thing that you brought up that Charlie would experience. How many people around you in 2008, 9, 10 were getting foreclosed on properties?
Oh, quite a bit. I mean, like all over the place.
Yep. How many investors were going out of business?
A lot of bidders, a lot of investors. The other one was going out of business. So it was a great time to buy.
Yep. So that all being said, though, you need to be prepared.
Yes.
Yeah. With everything that I do with our clientele is that we stress test.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you hear about bank stress testing. I stress test clients' portfolios. And any real estate investor should be stress testing. If X were to occur, how do I remain liquid enough so I can keep the property and ultimately don't take a bath?
So, you know, in real estate, where else are you going to be able to have your asset, for the most part, increase and have your liability, which is your note, your mortgage, and decrease at the same time? And you're creating cash in between. You're creating that cash. So there's not another business that will allow you to do that. So that's the beauty of real estate. Is you're creating the asset, you're increasing your assets, you're decreasing your liability, and you're making money in between. So that's the beauty of it.
Fantastic. Brand close, Charlie. Amber, go ahead.
No, well, just hang tight until it's paid off.
Okay.
That's the big thing. Just hang tight with it.
Amber, how do you want to close for us today?
For me, it's like, I personally say don't be afraid to start small because that's what I did.
Yeah.
And I've been conservative. I'm still super conservative. I don't go in whenever I'm flipping a house or even whenever I'm getting one for my rental and going in and looking at the best case scenario. I'm always somewhere in the middle. So that way, no matter what happens, and even if I'm making it a short-term or not a short-term rental, a long-term rental, and I know that whenever I refinance it to pull my money out, I'm still not over leveraged. I'm not in it anything at that point because I've gotten all of my money back and I constantly stay hands-on. And that's why I don't invest out of state. I don't invest outside of where I can keep my arms wrapped around it because nobody's going to care about my money and my properties more than me.
Fantastic. That's always going to be the case. Yeah. All right. I want to thank both of you, Amber, Charlie, for coming out and spending some time with me today. I want to thank everybody who's taken of their time to spend some time with us. We look forward to seeing you all again, and have a great day. For all podcast-related questions, or if you are a media group and are looking to be on the podcast, or would like the Wealth Whisperer on yours, reach out to DLAC Advisors at dlacadvisors.com. Please visit our video description for helpful links. For all questions or inquiries into the services that are provided by DLAC Wealth Advisors, please contact us at elliot.singer@dlacadvisors.com. That's Elliot with 2 T's.